Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is not my first time doing this. Ladies, gentlemen, and our non-binary babies, because there are some out there. Welcome to yet another episode of Live from the CRJ, the official podcast of the Dillard University Center for Racial Justice. I guess your host, the project assistant, Lawrence Weber, and I am here. She's finally back, y'all. She is finally back. I am here with Boss Lady. Go ahead, Boss Lady. And I'm going to go ahead and unmute you so you're able to act, so people can actually able to hear you. We show all the seams here at Live from the CRJ. Let's try that again.
One more time. Tia Suggs, project coordinator.
And we are here for another episode. We hope y'all are doing great. Big shout out to Matthew and Jordan, who were on our last episode. We did quite a lengthy podcast last week about the show that I'm currently in, the Colored Museum, at the NOLA Project. So if you're still listening, there's still one more week if you want to come and see us at the New Orleans African American Museum. We're still doing it. We're going to be doing it tonight. It's storming outside, so we're going to do it all inside, so that's going to be a fun situation. But we would like to welcome our two guests. If you guys can go ahead and introduce yourselves.
So definitely a pleasure to have you all. My name is Justin Lee Sr. I am a serial entrepreneur, real estate developer, part of the property Bruhz. We specialize in first-time home buyers and development of minority communities. Currently in the Southeast region of the United States, we take care of everything from acquisition, meaning purchasing homes, so finding it, helping you obtain grants or funding to purchase your home. Then once you have it, we're a full-service construction company, licensed, bonded, and insured, of course, where we can actually assist with any renovations you may have or requirements that you may need to fulfill your loan commitments. And then we also have another leg of it where we actually are landlords and own a portfolio of rentals throughout Atlanta as well as New Orleans, particularly in the New Orleans East.
Oh, wonderful. And whenever you're ready.
Yes. How you all doing today? My name is Austin Fleury. I'm co-CEO and founder of the Property Bruhz and Jam Lee Construction. I'm here with my counterpart, Jam Lee. We're super excited to be here today.
Awesome. Now, you guys are here just kind of giving a lot of our students kind of the runaround of hopefully being first-time buyers. Now, let's be real. They're young. They're quite young, so they may not be looking for a house right now. But if you can tell us and of course, the students what they can essentially do to get prepared for buying their first house. They may do it right out of college. They may do it long after college. They may do it long after college. They may do it when they're my age, So,
yeah, so I can touch on that. I would say for first-time home buyers and specifically people that are coming out of college, I would suggest to purchase something that would be essentially what you call an equity play, something that you can, quote unquote, house hack, something where you purchase it and you can rent the other side of it out. So essentially more like a duplex or fourplex or something like that, which typically first-time home buyers are able to qualify for. Different grants and stuff like that are able to qualify for those different programs that will allow you to purchase a home with more than one door where you're able to live on one side, rent out the other side. Technically, you're living for free. So I know a lot of people expect to be purchasing when they purchase their first home for it to be the big mansion and everything like that. But, a piece of advice that I would give out would be to realize that your first home doesn't have to be your final home. This won't be, the place where you spend the rest of your days out at. So just be smart with that decision on what you purchase and understand the opportunity that you have when you do purchase that home, and the opportunity to actually make some equity and make money off of you purchasing that home. So
Gotcha. Now, I know, I mean, I've lived in New Orleans for a good chunk of my life, and everybody's like, especially here in the Seventh Ward and in a lot of places in the city, there are duplexes. I mean, I grew up in one, let's be real. But I didn't know that places like Atlanta or I'm not sure if you work in like South Florida or Alabama or Mississippi. I'm not sure that they have duplexes. I've never seen one, but I've only been to Atlanta like 2 times. So what would you give like first time home buyers to know about like location? Like many people, like I said, I work in like theater and whatnot. So many people might think, okay, I'm just finished. Let me head to Atlanta. Let me head to Miami. What would be the first thing you would tell them as opposed to like starting out, trying to find, of course, the big mansion?
So I think that when it comes to location, it's important that you select somewhere that not only is going to be best bang for your buck, but you want somewhere that's actually going to grow. You don't buy at the top of the dollar. So I wouldn't go and tell somebody, hey, go buy a house on a bayou or go buy a house in the French Quarters for your first house, because the equity there is going to grow more consistently, but it's not going to grow exponentially quickly, if that makes sense. So someone that is buying maybe in the St. Claude area that's changing from the ghetto Ninth Ward to now emerging gentrified St. Claude area, I would say buy somewhere in that area, because we know that in 5 years, when you start seeing them blue doors, the area is changing. So you can catch a deal while it's still at the borderline, quote unquote ghetto area. And the next 5 years, you sell it because that's your starter house. Now you sell it with making 6 figures, selling it to go and get the house that you actually want and desire. So that would be my thing. Like, don't look at the area for what it is today. Obviously, we wouldn't say go buy in the middle of the desired projects, but go somewhere that's actually emerging, where you're seeing some of the properties start to gentrify in those areas that haven't been totally gentrified, but where they're starting. I would go. I also track the city development and planning departments, like zoning and planning, and I look at where the developments are coming. See, development doesn't start today. It happens 5-6 years in advance. So they plan out Microsoft in Atlanta. They plan out the redevelopment that they're doing here in New Orleans in a restoration of like Lincoln Beach. That's in the East that nobody really knows about. They
take it a step further, right? Even with like different sporting events and stuff like that. Let's say the Super Bowl or the World Cup. The World Cup will be in Atlanta in like 2 years, I want to say.
And of course, the Super Bowl will be here next year.
Correct.
So it's like different things like that where you see you have growth potential in areas where you can actually make a profit on these areas if you get in at a good time.
Gotcha. So what would you tell first-time buyers or students who are about to graduate in a couple of months? Okay, you've got the mindset of, I want to go to Atlanta, but you're from New Orleans and you have absolutely no idea what goes on in Atlanta. You're trying to figure out what's going on in Atlanta. What would be the first step that you would give them?
Well, the first thing I would say is to create the world in which you're trying to live in, kid. So really what that means is, you just got to get out there and experience and see more things, travel to expand your mindset and really understand exactly what the world has out there for you. Because everybody has their own purpose. Everybody has their own desires, that they want to achieve. So going out and actually seeing the world will help you realize those potentials and different things like that.
Gotcha. Oh, go ahead.
So I wanted to ask, what is your opinion on loans versus grants?
So I
your
think
experience with that.
I think obviously you want to take a grant. So the difference is a grant is essentially a token or a gift. In some cases, grants are forgivable. In some cases, they're not. So every time you get a grant, you have to understand what actually comes with it and read the fine print. Sometimes it's an advance. So they like to use the term grant, but it's really an advance that must be paid back. Then there are a lot of first-time homebuyer grants that allow you to purchase with a significant amount of down payment assistance. But with those grants come certain requirements that you can't sell the house within a 5-year period typically. For some of the ones here in New Orleans, I think it's 10 years. For the more substantial, like 40K grants. Outside of the selling requirement, when you keep the house and you go to refinance it, oftentimes FHA grants, which are Federal Housing Authority grants, which is most grants, those are grants where if you refinance the house, like the mortgage rates went down a couple years back, like tremendously to the 2%, and your house was worth $150K extra, if you took a profit for the grant, you have to pay the grant off. But if you refinance only the balance you owe, then the grant goes away, the balance goes away. So that's a loophole. I use that myself. I got a $15,000 grant when I purchased my home, like 3 months after graduating college. And I refinanced to a 2% rate, and I had a $15,000 second mortgage is what they'll do. That was like, I didn't pay on it, but it just was there. If you ever sell it within that window, or if you refinance and take a profit within that window, then obviously they want their money back because they figure, well, if you're making 6 figures, give me my money back to go help somebody else. But I think they're helpful. I think you should read the fine print and don't be afraid of them. People in our community, especially minorities, more particularly African Americans, we're scared of debt. And debt is the only thing that really will help you to elevate to the next level in America. I've seen in other countries, they don't believe in debt. People will build a house for 10 years and they will never have debt because they'll build it little by little by little. And, you know, I think that's interesting. I think that in some cultures, they also don't believe in it. Like Muslims, they don't believe in debt either. You can't take a loan or pay interest in the Muslim community, which was interesting to me. But I think that in our community and what we're doing, it's important that you take the debt, understand that your house is the biggest and fastest way to your net worth. Like you become a millionaire with 3 houses. It's really easy, honestly. And that might have took you $30,000 in down payments. You know what I mean? Because if you put 3% down 3 times, I mean, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Speaking of that, many of us, especially those who are here at Dillard, I know I did when I graduated from Dillard, leave Dillard with a sizable student loan debt.
Oh, let me talk about that.
Okay, let's go there.
I'll let you finish your question, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about it because I graduated from Morehouse College, and that's not a cheap degree, right? That degree cost me $250,000.
Oh my!
Right, and I work for myself now. Right, I work with GM Construction. We have our brokerage. We have a construction company. We have our Amazon logistics company. We're our own bosses. So I got that expensive piece of paper, right? But I would say it was the best decision I ever made in my life. Morehouse College changed the trajectory of not only my family's life, but other people that are directly associated with me's life as well. Just to tap back on to the last topic real quick on the loans and the credit, right? When you think about going get a loan for a home, this is the best type of debt that you really want to acquire, to be honest. And a lot of the times people are reluctant or hesitant to go ahead and get that debt because of, quote unquote, a high interest rate at the time or whatever, right? But what I want to say here is you can always go back and refinance that. You can get a different rate. It doesn't always have to be that same rate. So when people ask me a lot of the times, Austin, what should I do? How should I get into real estate? The only way you're going to do it is by actually taking that step and getting involved, right? Whether that's purchasing your first home or purchasing your first investment property, etc. So I just wanted to throw that out there real quick too.
Oh no,
because interest rates scare people a lot of the time.
Absolutely. And one of the things that people are, especially now, people are very fearful of is their credit score.
Yep.
So a lot of
It's
our
very
students
important.
probably getting like just jumping out of college, just like got their BA or going to grad school and everything, because of the student loan debt, they might be very fearful of their credit score. So what are some ways that they can not only look at and look at said credit score, but essentially boost it so it'll be easier to purchase a house?
I'm gonna defer to the guru right here, Justin.
So, I mean, I think a lot of the times,
I'm also going to be listening intently because my credit score is awful.
so really, credit is honestly a game, right? And it's a tool. It's the most powerful tool you could ever have, in my opinion. Because with credit, unlike many things, whether you're, educated, whether you have a skilled trade, paralyzed or not, however you are born, everyone's born with a credit score. And the good part is the federal law allows you to recreate yourself every 7 years in the event of your failure or something goes bad and doesn't report properly. So what I did was at 16, I was a freshman at Morehouse and I didn't have no money and I wanted to get things and learn how to build credit. So I learned about it by going to Best Buy, and I wanted to get a laptop. I didn't want an HP. My mom was like, "You need a laptop? Here's an HP." I'm like, "Nah, I want a Mac." So she said, "You gonna pay for a Mac?" So that 1,000 versus that 300 was different. I said, "Well, how am I gonna do this?" That's when I learned about it. The sales rep was a Morehouse graduate, and he was like, "Look, did you know that your social security number did not dictate your age? So on a credit application, you can put whatever it is that you want as far as your age." I was 16, so I had to just 2 years earlier. I didn't know that he just did it off the strength, to get me to where I was going.
Exactly.
And it helped me because I was able to finance over 18 months, no interest. So that same $1,000 was $1,000 divided by 18. It wasn't 1,800. It wasn't 2,000. It was the same. And by me consistently making that payment of like $70 over 18 months, it reported positive to my credit. So that small debt, I got what I wanted. I was able to pay it off over time. And now I look more responsible to the banks. So after that, I decided that I would go to a trusted source like my mom, and my grandma. And I said, "Hey, y'all have credit cards. Y'all don't really use them. Add me as an authorized user." That is the biggest play. So on Instagram, they call it trade lines when they're saying you're going to pay for someone to add them to your credit card. But if you have people that actually, that are physically responsible or financially responsible, ask them to add you to their account as an authorized user. That provides you a trade line. So if I have an American Express for 10 years, you now have an American Express history on your report for 10 years of positive pay, large lines, so on and so forth. What that does is then allow you the opportunity to gain access to American Express. American Express and these banks look at it like, if John Doe trusted you enough to put you on their 15-year-old American Express Platinum, then we should probably give you some credit because you're trustworthy. And now you're eligible to apply with them. Another key thing is like a lot of things get us like cell phone bills, medical bills, those types of things. Well, those can be removed actually, because in all of these agreements, you actually, to allow someone to pull your credit, it must be in writing, not electronically. So if you challenge a bill or a balance that's on your report and say that, "Hey, I did not authorize this," and they send you back an electronic signature, you could very well fight it and say, "Well, according to the Fair Credit Reporting Act, all approvals must be in writing with a physical signature, not electronic."
Yep.
And then, other things like that. Technically, medical bills cannot be on your credit report, but they still do them. It's just a lot of things. But even if something does get on there, you have the right to fight it, and it does not cost. You can reach out to the credit reporting agencies, and they'll help you. And then, obviously, if you do nothing, all bad debt falls off after 7 years. So if you just have a ton of collections, don't trip. It'll fall off after 7 years.
But I wouldn't advise that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't advise that.
Yeah. Please don't just
Don't just
randomly run on people's bill and wait until that falls off. Please don't do that. But let's talk about that.
Right.
Let's talk about it. Right.
To some of the students, let's be real here. And while we, of course, here at the live from the CRJ, we of course love all Dillard students and we want you to do best. But speaking as a Dillard student who did this, unfortunately, for those of you who got put on your parents' authorized users, and then decided to max out the card. After your parents are done destroying you, what should you essentially do? And I think I'll be a little bit more clear. Let's say you made some really bad financial decisions while you were in undergrad. You're a student, you're broke, sometimes things get rough. What do you do to essentially, quote unquote, pull yourself out of that hole? Because once you get out after 6 months, those student loans will be like, hey, how you doing? Where's my money? So how do you essentially dig yourself out of the hole that you have created by being young and irresponsible?
I guess I could take this one, because I feel like I had this exact situation that you speaking of right now. I wasn't knowledgeable about credit. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't have anybody telling me that you should pay this off or do this or do that, anything, right? So I had a job at Express. And at Express, they wanted you to wear the Express clothes, right? So what they did was they said, hey, I know you just got hired. Apply for this credit card. Get this credit card. You can buy all the clothes that you need to work, right? So I applied for the credit card. I got accepted for the credit card. And what did I do? I didn't just buy like the most affordable things in the store. I bought the nicest jacket that they had. I had the nicest sweatshirts and hoodies and everything. I ran it up. I didn't just buy my uniforms that I needed. I ran it up. So I had a ridiculous credit card bill for Express, right? Mm-hmm. As a 18-year-old, never paid it. Never paid 1 cent on this, because I got my check. I got my check from the job. And of course, I'm a young man. We doing what we want to. Wasn't thinking about credit cards, right? Years later, collections. Hello. Your $1,000 is now $3,000. So the interest went crazy. From years of me not paying this, not only did I have to pay them more than what was initially the purchase amount, but it also negatively affected my credit and my credit history. Now I'm the opposite of what he was talking about. I'm what they don't want. We don't want to give you any more credit cards. We don't want to loan you any more money, because you couldn't even manage $1,000. Mm-hmm. Why would we give you more money? Right? So long story short, ended up getting my situation back together. Of course, that was a long time ago, but I would definitely suggest being knowledgeable about credit and knowing that they want to loan you the money, but you have to be responsible with the money that they do loan you.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So something that I did learn was 70-30, right? I'll use 70% of y'all money, and I'll owe y'all 30% of y'all money, because to them, that looks good. Yes, I could have paid you the whole 100%. I could have paid everything off for that statement balance. But they want to have that debt. They want you to have the debt. It looks good to the bank, looks good as a borrower, etc. You have anything you want to add to that?
I mean, I think that's a true statement. I think overall what he said hit it on the head. Because once you have the debt, it is hard. Like people always say, it's so easy to fail. Like a grade, you go to school, you get an F. It's so hard to get out of that hole, but it's so easy to fail one test. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes, the system is set up for that. See, if you fail early on, like he's saying over $100,000, then you're more inclined now to have a difficulty getting $100,000. Banks are giving out $100,000 in unsecured, meaning nothing, no assets, and unsecured credit. They'll give it to you, and they'll allow you to grow and develop. If you use it responsibly, you can get millions and millions of dollars of lines of credit and effectively build something for nothing. You just had a credit score. Now, once you are in a position where it's messed up, don't lose hope. You could continue to grow and rebuild it. I think that a tangible plan would be to look at the actual debt that you have and facilitate a payment plan. always at least make the minimum payments. If you cannot make the minimum payments, call and tell them, I need help. I need a financial hardship. They have programs out here specifically for that. And if you don't tell them I am in a financial hardship, they won't offer the program to you. So you have to be conscious of it. A lot of times we get in debt and we shut down. You know, it's hard to talk about money that we don't have. So when you don't have the money, people don't want to talk about it. But if you have it and you're able to set up a plan to pay it off, then you're able to get back in good graces with the bank. So I would say, 1, communicate. 2, make the minimum payments, because just because you have a high balance, that doesn't mess your score up. It's when you have a high balance and you have missed payments that messes your credit history up. The balance, once you pay it down, your score shoots up the next month or whenever you pay it down. The missed payments will stick.
Well, so for someone like me, y'all know me very well. I don't know much about, financial literacy and how y'all know the budgeting, the saving. What are some resources or books that y'all have read that you recommend for someone who wants to learn about their credit, or like just getting into real estate and saving? Because that's all highly important.
As far as real estate, for sure, anything Robert Kiyosaki, I would suggest. He is great at just a lot of different things. I actually gave this guy a book maybe like a year or 2 ago, which was how to retire from your corporate job, like what to do before you retire from your corporate job. And I don't know if we can get a little round of applause or whatever, but this dude is 25 years old and he just retired from Cox in a senior position role. Like, he has a senior role that he just retired from at 25 years old. Wait,
I actually do have an applause button. Look at that. Look at that. See, there we go.
So
you gotta always be prepared.
he read that book, and he retired. But outside of that, he has a bunch of different books that really teach you about financial literacy. He also has it's like a board game that's very similar to Monopoly that we play frequently. It's pretty fun. But it's more so about escaping what you call the rat race, which is America, what they call the rat race. The rat race. Instead of just a regular piece, you get assigned like an occupation and a salary, and then you go around the board and life happens. So
okay,
it's interesting.
That's the author
it's something
of
that,
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki.
Okay.
Yep. So any book that he's putting out, I definitely highly suggest that.
I like Think and Grow Rich. So I was reading it on a plane. Think and Grow Rich is a very, very impactful book. It actually is by Napoleon Hill, right? And it teaches you the different mindsets and thoughts of success. And it tells you about the power of your subconscious mind and how your thoughts control your actions. And if you desire something so much and you speak it into existence, it allows you to then feel it. You could almost see it. You know what I mean? But you have to be very specific and measurable with what it is that you want or desire and put a timeline on it so that you can actually have an idea of where you are. There's 2 versions to this book, which is funny. The first version by Napoleon Hill talks about all of the desires. It tells you the stories of a lot of the upcoming and like developers like Ford, like Einstein, and these guys that are geniuses, right? It tells you their perspective and how they actually got to where they are. And then there's another version that came out like 80 years later called Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice. So this one is by Dennis Kimbrough. And that one tells you how to think and grow rich, but from a black hat. We come in with our shoulders already dusty and muddy. When you're of a different descent and race, you come in a little bit far advanced. You have an uncle, auntie, mom, or daddy who actually knows these things. We typically don't. You know what I mean? And when you have that negative impact on us, you have to find a way to think through it differently. So the Black Choice version teaches us from a black man's perspective how to really go in and grow and develop and see how we can do business together. So I really like those books, but I always tell people read the Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill first, and then read The Black Choice, and then you really can dial down on the differences that you have in a society from a legacy, from a financial standpoint, the restitutions and things like that that should be there but aren't there, and just how to approach it, because it is what it is. Now, how do you develop and get through and take advantage of what the society is and the system is today that we currently live in?
Yep.
Now here, because you're following the same line of thinking that I was going to. There are unfortunately quite a bit of disparities when it comes to home ownership and people of color, most notably Black people. We always, if I'm not sure if anybody knows of the story not too long ago where a Black couple had their house appraised, then took out everything that they would consider Black in their home and had the house appraised again, and the house ended up being the house was appraised for a much larger price than it was previous. What is some things that you would like to tell Black homeowners or black folk who are trying to get a home? How would they go about it differently than regular first time homeowners?
So if you're a current home buyer, current homeowner, and you receive an appraisal that's substantially less than what you would expect, I would do three things, right? The first thing I would do is I would reach out to a realtor and ask them to provide a CMA. A CMA is a competitive market analysis. That tells you, based on the data of the FMLS and the tax deeds that have been transferred, it tells you the amount of money for properties that have been sold within whatever radius you decide. You can say I want a 1 mile radius that are all 3-bedroom, 2 bathrooms like my house in the last year. It'll show you that. It'll show you for a year before, whatever you want to see. Typically, I say 6 months is typically the most best data. Within the last year is debatable. But 6 months is always a standard that an appraisal is going to be valid for discussion. But the actual appraisal is 120 days is when, as long as it's valid. But that's the first thing I would do. I would ask the realtor for a CMA. The second thing I would do, I would call my insurance company and say, hey, what do you have this home valued at? Based on you all's current value, what is it? Not the replacement value, the current value of the home, right? And then I would ask them the replacement value to understand, well, what is it valued to insurance, the people that actually have the debt and the liability for this asset? And then the third thing I would do then would be I would go on Zillow and Realtor and Truly or myself and look at my property and look at my own neighborhood and see what are those houses for? You know what I mean? And then if there is a disparity between what I see and what I've been actually given from an appraisal, then I would just pay for another one too. I mean, an appraisal isn't a concrete set in stone thing. I've had
it's an opinion.
Yeah, I've had many appraisers that have undervalued property, not knowing who we really are, what we do. They just come to our property and they see some young guys in some sweatpants and think that we don't know. And then we tell them, oh, we're a licensed brokerage and we understand fully. We've already done the comps. I just wanted to see what you had to say. You know what I'm saying? So they will try you like that. Oftentimes, if it's
unfortunate.
Yeah, if it's
unfortunate, right? The industry is predominantly right. The other side, white males. It's not a secret. They're white males that basically run that industry for the most part. So this is a charge to all of my people out here listening to me. We need more real estate professionals. We need more loan officers. We need more appraisers, black appraisers, because there are not that many. We need more black inspectors, home inspectors. Across the board, we need more realtors. We need more brokers. We need more, period. Right? So that's why me and my brother are here to spread the knowledge and spread the information that is out there, because it's not enough time for us to make all the money in the world, right? We got to collab over competition. And that's what I want our people to really understand, especially here in the city. We're from here, born and bred in New Orleans. Like, down on Broad Street, 7th Ward, right? Literally, we're from New Orleans. So I want to see my people from the city experience more and travel the world and get those different experiences that we were talking about earlier on in the podcast, and to be able to empower themselves and give that same knowledge back to their families and show them that it's possible. Because I remember growing up here in the city and realizing that, oh shit, it's more to the city it's more to the world than crawfish and beignets and parades. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I'm just thankful and grateful that we are in the position that we're in today to be able to, give back and give that knowledge. But like I'm saying, man, we need more appraisers that are like us. Absolutely. It's just not a secret. It's not a secret.
So folks, push for more people of color, more black people in those spots. Don't just go and find a white friend and take all the stuff out your house, please. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was wondering, so y'all are both, Austin, St. Aug graduate, Lake area graduate. Y'all have been from New Orleans all your lives, lived out here all your lives. What is something that...
Go purple.
Purple Knights. But what is your vision for the city?
That alone. So
my school don't exist no more.
Well, I mean, just speaking as somebody whose cousin used to be the principal. So I don't even have to say anything. But go ahead.
But what is your vision for New Orleans, and what do you like compared to when y'all left the city and where we're at now, and everything's changing? And
man, see, I'm a little bit older than you guys, so a little, like, just a little, you know what I'm saying, just a little.
You're not older than me. I'm usually the oldest one in the room.
I don't know, man.
I was,
but he got grades.
I was closer to, I guess, the Katrina situation, right? As a kid, so just coming back to the city and really just constantly seeing. It's like the slowly but surely, we kind of getting back to our roots, and the city kind of getting back there, like the feeling of like the city, right? Like I feel like this past Mardi Gras has been one of the littest ones that I've seen in a long time, and I wasn't even here. Like I was in St. Martin for Mardi Gras. But I was like, damn, this is one that I looked at my phone and I was like, damn, I wish I was there, because it just looked like the city had so much life back into it. So one thing that I would really, really love to see from the city is more people coming together, more people collaborating with each other and pushing each other and bigging each other up. Because it's just been too many years personally that I've seen out my own eyes of people just like not really supporting each other. You know what I'm saying? And I know we all heard it before. It's like that crab in the bucket mentality that everybody say that we are subject to. We don't have to be, right? Because like I said, collaboration over competition. We do not have to compete with each other. There's more than enough money. There's more than enough industries out here for us all to shine in our own likeness. You just got to live your purpose and do what you are here for. And seeing somebody else do what they're doing, living their purpose, should not hurt you. You should not want to see them out the way because they doing that.
If so anything, for me, it should drive you.
It should want you. It should push you to want to, damn, I could do that too. Mm-hmm. So I want to be able to change that narrative, help push people to the right mindset, and let people know, like, we all can be successful. We all can be, you know what I'm saying, the greatest. We all can be whatever, like, just being supportive of each other and pushing each other to the next step, whatever it may be. It doesn't have to be real estate. It doesn't have to be construction, right? It could be whatever you want to be. You could be the best trash man that you want to. You could be the best lawyer that you want to. You could be the best doctor that you want to. You could be the best teacher that you want to, right? I just want people to understand that, we all are here for a purpose, and just live your purpose.
I agree with that. Okay, so I know we're moving toward the end. So usually here on live from CRJ, I'm trying to fix my microphone. It's fine. We usually ask the question, if you had a magic wand and you were able to change one thing. It's usually from the standpoint of criminal justice, but I would just kind of like open that up to you. If you had a magic wand and was able to do one thing, give people one thing, give a community one thing, it does not matter, one thing, what would you essentially give? So whoever wants to go first.
I think me personally, if I had a magic wand to give anything to anyone, I'm probably biased. I would give it to my black brothers, right? And what I would give them is the idea that really there is no ceiling. You know, like people say the sky's the limit. Well, that's not true. Because when you're in the plane and you look up, it never stops. You get what I'm saying? So why do we tell ourselves the sky is the limit? That's really false. There is no limit. Mm-hmm. I think that if our brothers actually understand that there is no limit and you can do literally whatever it is that you desire, then they would be much more equipped for the world. I think my more particular wine would be here in New Orleans, where I'm from. A lot of my classmates and friends, right, are dead or in jail. I talk to 3 or 4 friends a week, mostly probably a day, really, from jail. You know what I'm saying? I done been to so many funerals to where I'm kind of immune to it. It's kind of, oh, he died. All right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's typical to me now because you can kind of see the trajectory of where things are going. And that's bad to me. I think that everyone should be in a position where they're actually on the same page. And if you actually believe, then you can actually achieve. And with us, a lot of our brothers and sisters in New Orleans, we get stuck into the mentality of we got to hustle. We got to strip. We got to sell drugs. We got to do music, which is all great. But I want everyone to actually look at what is their true purpose. Like, I don't think anyone grows up and says, I want to be a dope boy, right? Uh-huh. You grow up with a mindset of a career. But what deviated you from that purpose that you desired to be in first and second grade at career day? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I would think. I'll just challenge them to really deep dive into your thoughts and your desires and get back to them. No, don't let nothing get you off your track. Like, whatever it is that got you off, get back. And that's what I would do, man.
Exactly. I give myself a 785 credit score. But that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Man, shit. If I had a magic wand, I'm trying to think what I would do with it. That's like a very subjective, open-ended question, huh? I'm trying to think, what would I do, man? You could I could say, oh, I would cure homelessness or cure, food insecurities, all kind of stuff. It's a lot of different things. But just to touch back onto like the real point of everything, I just really think that it's the mindset thing. Really just changing the thought process and the mindset on, where you can actually be. Like he said, I know it sounds very, very cliche, but it's true. It's very, very powerful. The words that you speak and the words that you put on your tongue, like, they will come true. So if you speak bad things will come to you.
Absolutely.
Power
If
of
you
the tongue.
speak good things will come to you. I'm a living testament of that. I didn't have the typical story of a 4-year college student. Like the quote unquote American dream. I created my own American dream. I am the American dream. I'm whatever you want it to be and more. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So to me, I would like for everybody to be able to have an open mindset and not be negative.
Absolutely.
To have a positive mindset about different things and to be patient, because patience is a virtue.
and it's a virtue that so many of us do not have, resin company included.
Yes.
If you could, guys, one, thank you so much for coming and joining us on the show. If you could you give them just a little bit information as to where they can find you and where they can find your business?
Definitely. So, like we said, we are serial entrepreneurs, so we have a lot of different social medias and a lot of different websites, a lot of ways that y'all can find us. But on Instagram, you can follow me at The Real High Def, and I spell it correctly, so that's TheRealHidef. And then for Justin, he is at J Lee the Realtor. It's also spelled correctly, so that's at JLEETHEREALTOR. We also have JM Lee Construction, which is spelled JM Lee Construction.
Cool. So it's probably make it real easy, right? You can type in www.Justin M for Michael Lee SR for senior.com.
There we go.
All our links will pop up.
And just Google me.
Everything pops up. You know what I'm saying? That's the easiest, quickest way. It also allows you to book a consultation or a time to chat with myself and Austin. And it also gives you a direct link to all of our Instagrams, our business, and our YouTube channel where you can learn more about investing, real estate, credit, taxes. We go through everything. And
we're also about to start tapping into stocks too. Shout out my boy Aristotle. You feel me?
For
Aristotle
sure.
Investments. So we got a lot, man. We got a lot for y'all, whether that's real estate, construction, stocks, whatever, man. We do it. We have the industries, we have the networks, the resources. Y'all holler at us.
And not at me, because the last time I decided to do stocks, I only made quite literally $8. So I'm not the person you want to see films or theater. That's the person you come to. You want stocks, you go to them, because unless you just want $8, that's fine. I mean, that's at this point that's not even a combo meal. But you can also find us on Facebook. That is CRJXDU. Oh, thank goodness I got it right. And on Instagram, that is CRJ_DU. And if you want to talk to us, if you've got any questions for anyone, feel free to hit us up at crj@dillard.edu. That is crj@dillard.edu. If you are a student of Dillard, you already know. You don't even have to spell it. But we have to head out. I am Lawrence Weber, your project assistant, along with
Tia Suggs, project coordinator.
And we thank you so much for listening to us, and we'll see you later.